the African Center of Excellence in Oilfield Chemicals Research. The mandate is to train high caliber manpower across the West African sub-region. That we are achieving. In fact, the University of Port Harcourt ACE-CEFOR is probably the foremost in terms of training PhDs and building capacity, not just for a certain caliber of students, but we're building capacity across.
Cefor Uniport is an institution known for petroleum and gas. If you remember, 75% of professors in petroleum and gas in Africa come from Uniport. So we are the giant. Well, I go to Kenya, I go to Ghana, I go to Equatorial Guinea. The oil industry is still just coming there. So they don't have the facilities. So what we are trying to do is for them to learn from us so that as they grow, they become stronger. So that's why Cefor was given to Uniport because of our strength in the petroleum and gas industry. Remember 1956, oil came to this place. What else can we be better in than to do the business in our backyard?
We have some of the finest petroleum engineers in the Gulf of Guinea in this university. We have the highest number of professors of petroleum engineering in this university across the West African sub-region. And so when the World Bank came up with these centers of excellence, we have put up 2 different proposals, and as you'll expect, the one for oilfield chemicals research won.
You go to Cefor, which is in University of Port Harcourt. They're working in the area of oil field chemicals. These are things that we spend millions of dollars importing. So now we're looking at how to produce them locally and how to train people to also build a critical mass of expertise that will be required in the oil industry.
The oil and gas industry has been dependent on foreign inputs in terms of technology, in terms of the chemicals. It will surprise you. I was over the research of the oil industry. We import sand from Ottawa, from Canada. We import bentonite from Wyoming. But these things are right here in our backyard. So at the end of the day, we are just busy servicing the other country. And Nigeria is saying, no, time has come where the quantum of what's going on in the oil industry, at least 70%, should be in country. And that's why we are here, to be able to address this capital flight and get our own homemade technology. And it's working.
I had my master's degree in the UK. My research was bordered around the use of chemicals to enhance oil recovery and oil production. So I should have naturally done that, continued in that line. But when I came back home to Nigeria, which is where I'm from, I heard about CEFOR. And I got more interested in it because it gave me a different perspective of how you can actually enhance oil recovery using waste, local waste. So what I learned over there in the UK was using the chemicals, which is the norm. You use chemicals to recover oil. But coming down here, we're actually using local waste, local agricultural waste to recover oil.
Cefor has been able to produce products that are relevant to the industry. Right now, we worked on the bentonite. We've been importing bentonite because they think the local bentonites are not useful. With our research, we had a very useful breakthrough where we can now use Nigerian bentonites. We've been able to develop products on corrosion inhibitors and other oil field chemicals. The good news is that most of this research that were done outside Nigeria before now are now done in this country. We are working on using starch as oil field chemical. We are now synthesizing for oil-based fluid in country. So what we see is that a kind of big marriage between industry and academia.
Here we have a loop that is used for hydrate formation simulations. This loop mimics the offshore environment. Oil and gas business is a very expensive one. and anything that has to cause depositions are not allowed to occur. Those depositions in the form of hydrates for gases. So what hydrates does that it blocks the pipeline. So this is the loop that tries to simulate that environment. The refrigerator here is what actually simulates the offshore environment. We have blocks that we use to get the temperature to very low temperatures, because what causes hydrate formation is low temperatures and very high pressures. So this loop will do just that for us.
These are students who will have found it very difficult, because the kind of training we give them is the kind of training you have to send people to the US, to the UK, to Australia. They're getting it right here in Nigeria.
With a background in engineering and geology, my coming to CEFOR has made me appreciate other sciences. It's a whole new world. We have so much to learn from other disciplines that one would naturally not think has anything to do with engineering per se. But we've gotten to learn that there's no discipline that is an island. For you to get whatever you have to do, you need to incorporate every other thing. So it's multidisciplinary, and that's one thing I have learned and I appreciate with CEFOR.
So the focus of the center is to be able to produce these oil-free chemicals from local technology and capacity to be able to address this need in the oil industry.
What's obtainable in the oil industries is that they use chemicals to recover their oil. But what we want to do here in CEFOR is to be able to use our local materials to recover this oil. Here I have waste from okra, actually the head, and then I have what we call potash account here. We have some leaves that we use. They've all been dried and grinded. So this what forms the bulk of our tertiary recovery, and hence a recovery. So after you've done water flooding to recover more oil, we still have some residue oil in the reservoir. So we try to use either of these. This one, the okra, acts as a polymer. It acts exactly as your chemicals, your polymers. This is the palm kernel oil. It acts as a surfactant, it's a surface active agent. And then we have this, the account, which is an alkaline. Because in your chemical recovery, you need these three chemicals to be able to recover oil.
We've got the basic raw materials to be able to produce those oil chemicals, which oil companies need all the time for drilling.
So our focus basically is to be able to get these oil-free chemicals. And right now we made a very big breakthrough. Most of our students, we embark on industry-ready research. What we do is we get the need of the industry in terms of what they need in these chemicals and commit the students to focus on this research. And this helps us to also have industry to participate in supervising and curriculum development.
The reason why we're doing it, first of all, one is to eradicate the high level of toxicity in these chemicals that we import. That is first and foremost on our minds. We need to look for environmental friendly chemicals that we can use. Secondly, is to reduce the cost of oil production. Because when you have to spend so much in importing chemicals, so much in bringing them in, buying them and bringing them in, definitely the prices of your oil will increase because your OPEX has really increased. So we're trying to see how we could reduce the cost of oil production. And also, we're trying to see how we can use our waste to generate wealth, which will definitely impact on our economy as a country.
So what we try to do here is to try to mimic the ocean environment and then use different inhibitors. We're moving away from the conventional methanol, the conventional PVPs that is being used. We're trying to see if we can get local materials that can do the same job of this PVT. So what this loop is doing for us is to help us screen those inhibitors.
University of Port Harcourt is famous as an entrepreneurial university. We believe in using your brain power to solve human problems. So right now we see professional organizations. Most our students are supposed to undertake international certification. Right now, we have saved so much because on average, if you go outside to do this international certification per student, per person, it's about 2 million, the cost of transport and all that. We've been able to do over 150 international certification, and the minimal cost of how much? Perhaps 150,000 per student. So we have saved millions of dollars.
This is novel. This is new. You will not get this anywhere. I speak like this because I spoke to my supervisors in the UK, and they were amazed at me speaking about plantain leaves to recover oil. It sounded like Greek to them, like really? I said, yes, that's what I'm working on, because they just wanted to know my progress, how far, what, have you continued? I said, yes, and this is what I'm doing. And they were really amazed, they're really excited about it, they really want to, be part of it. So you can actually only get this here. That's why I said this is novel. And I really cannot appreciate CEFOR. I really don't know how to start to appreciate them for the opportunity to do this. You can't get it anywhere. And I'm glad that it will be here that we would have that record, that we were first to bring this to the limelight in CEFOR.
We have in this center graduated at least 37 PhDs in this field and well over 200 MScs. And beyond those that enroll from Nigeria, we also have collaboration within the region. We have students from Ghana. We are actually expanding our course. Students from the West African sub-region are coming here now for training in this area. And therefore, it's beyond expanding the image and the reputation of the university. It is impacting so very well across the West African sub-region.
What we have achieved so far is what I call internationalization of academics at home. Just this year, last session, we had 25 foreign students apply, and we admitted 15 of them. First in history, where you have people from other countries in Africa. You have students from Ghana, from Kenya, from Cameroon. And these students have gone back because in some of these countries, they are not strong in petroleum and oil field related research. So with what we have achieved last year, we had 3 PhD students graduate from Ghana, and this year we have about 8 students in the center among the 70 PhD students. So we are hopeful that in the nearest future, it will be a catalyst to develop human capital in Africa.
As a foreign student, I think Ghana, we just discover oil. And currently what we are using is all foreigners that are managing the oil sector. So when the CEFOR idea was wrote up by AU, that is African Union, together with World Bank, some of us that we were already teaching in the university were co-opted to come for further training so that we can have a local content in our recently discovered natural resource such as crude oil. Ever since I came here, I've learned a lot. I used to only know about the petrochemistry, but I've got to know the formation of the petrol, to the production, and to final use of the petrol. I'm a chemical engineer by profession, and that has had a lot of value.
One thing learned in Port Harcourt is always think outside the box. When there are issues, do not try to accept things as they are, but try to question why, and you should be able to have solutions to it because others have been able to. They always urge you to think outside the box. And to me, that is very good towards our oil and gas district, where we can be able to get people who will be able to think seriously through problems so that we can solve them.
Just this section, we admitted 70 PhD students. We were oversubscribed. In fact, 25 of them from other African countries, the first in history. We had to admit only 15. And people are calling and say, hey, we want to come in. Surprisingly, one day somebody applied from the UK and called. I said, who is this? I'm calling from Britain. I want to come to your school. I said, wow, this is wonderful. When we admitted some of the students, the first time they came with reservation and said, hey, Nigeria, because before now, we flooded universities in Ghana, flooded universities But so after 1 week or 2 weeks, the story has changed.
The center CEFOR is a wonderful platform. Before now, there have been different models, people saying how do we connect the industry, the government, and the academic together. CEFOR is that solution, because here we have different lecturers that comes from different spheres of the society. We have the international bodies coming to teach us. We have those in the industry coming to teach us. We have those from the country teaching us. You see that the students partake and benefit so much from these different spheres. We discuss together, we communicate together, and we critically look at solutions and problems. And with this, you see that you benefit a lot.
Because of this synergy, we have opportunity to have experts from other universities, from the industry, from other countries. So right now in CEFOR, we have over 60 experts who are either lecturers or supervisors. We have people from industry to come and teach. So you have the diversity. And in supervision, you also have at least 2 supervisors. And also make sure that the research they're undertaking are not just those that will end on the shelf. Before you come, there is a research ready.
With CEFOR, we're now looking at every aspect on a big sphere and a big picture. I now consider things like the community, I now consider things like safety, I now consider things like the government, and I think of things like human capacity development. All these are being brought together to see how I can be of a better benefit into the society and where I'm coming from. Now my projects, which were just singular, are now becoming more multidimensional.
The World Bank says you must have a relationship with the industry, so that these students must go to the industry to have that exposure. So before the students are along the line, we have collaboration. So we send these students to the industry. So in the first place, the supervisors are ready, the industry ready, research are ready, the equipment are ready. That was why we met on target. Within 36 months, we have a PhD. On average, you spend 7 years in the natural traditional university, 10 years. At times some students commit suicide. But here we tell you when to come and when to leave.
The center is unique in one form, in the sense that it pushes you to meet your target. To me, I believe every African, if given a chance, should come through Uniport and see for themselves the uniqueness they have.
We have a center in CEFOR that focuses on petrochemical and refining and gas. We have a company, Nigerian Natural Gas Company, endowed a building, a professorial chair, and a mini refinery for research. And some of our students are on it.
This is the plant for petroleum refining. It's one of the facilities that CEFOR uses. And everything that happens in a conventional refinery happens here, but on a mini scale.
Because we know that the usefulness of crude oil is only realized when you break down the molecules. And that's the problem we have. We get crude, we'll export, we buy back.
These were the products that were gotten at atmospheric distillation condition. Now, most of these products that you see here, the fuel oil, the lubricating oil, the asphalt, these are heavy products. If you look, you can't even, they are very heavy products. But what we are trying to say is that from this, we could still get lighter end products like this if we use the right catalyst. And so what the project in CEFOR, what we are trying to do is to get chemicals or catalysts using locally sourced materials that can be able to make most of these products much more useful, getting lighter end products and fractions from this.
We're trying to promote local content. We're trying to say we can do it on our own. We don't really need to add to importation duties. We can look around us and find out that, yeah, there are materials around us. We're so blessed. So what we do is to harness those materials and then use it to solve our own problems.
Each time we import those materials that are useful to us, we employ people abroad. We empower people abroad. But by being able to look inwards, we not only make more money for ourselves, we also empower people by making them employed. Of course, we also, put our knowledge to use. And then it's able to, what CEFOR is doing is actually groundbreaking, because in a way that it brings a synergy between the industry and the academia. Because it now means that if we are able to make a progress in this, with time there will be, constant modification on what we have. And then by that, we are bridging the gap much more. So it's, in the long run, it's a win-win for everybody, especially the society.
So what this would help the oil industry is to be able to get more oil from the reservoir. The residual oil that is left, we still need to clean the bottom of it and get everything out as much as possible, because that will translate to dollars and money at the end of the day. And while doing that, we do not want to endanger the environment by using chemicals. So what we're trying to do in CEFOR is, as much as we're trying to make more money, we're trying to make it in a very healthy way, taking note of our environment, lives, human lives, animal lives, and plant lives.
As far as we are concerned, and as far as World Bank is concerned, and as far as the NUC, National University Commission, that supervises the entire centers in Nigeria are concerned, they rate us very highly.
So what we have done now, most of the trainings are domiciled here in terms of capital development, in terms of the oil and gas need, because the target of the federal government is that at least 70% of what is happening in the oil industry should be domiciled in country. And this is an answer, obviously. Right now, we're a research cluster for that body. And also, most of us are consultants to the industry. So we are seeing a very wonderful influence.